Yeah, Pcgamesn want to give Nintendo special treatment. You're like, huh? Yeah, Pcgamesn want to give Nintendo special treatment. They want to pamper Nintendo. Listen to this. Stop making the Steam Deck versus Switch 2 comparison. Pcgamesn got some nerve. Listen to this. And by the way, this article is a Crimea River article. Yeah, it's a Crimea River article. See, the Nintendo fan base, they love to dish it out but can't take it. They be the one firing shots and taking shots at other handhelds. But when the light is on them, they don't like it. Listen to this. As the Nintendo Switch largely secretive specs hit the news, comparisons have been made to many handheld gaming PC, but it's not fair. It's not fair, really. You weren't saying that. You weren't saying that during the Sega Genesis versus Super Nintendo days, huh? You weren't saying that, huh? It's not fair. You weren't saying that when the Steam Deck came out, and you guys were calling the Steam Deck a clunker. Matter of fact, you Nintendo fans was attacking the Steam Deck battery life. Remember? You Nintendo fans with your own YouTube channels. Yeah. Remember that? You were attacking the Steam Deck. Remember? Oh, you guys went deaf, huh? You have lost memory, huh? Well, let me refresh you. Remember that? You called the Steam Deck a clunker? Matter of fact, you had people people that gave up on the Steam Deck because they didn't know how. They say they were sitting in front of the camera like they were technically savvy, but then the Steam Deck exposed them. Remember? Some of you even gave up on it and then you backpedaled. Really? Yeah, you changed your mind. Remember? Okay, just saying. So this article is really a Crimea River. Pcgamesn want us to give Nintendo special treatment, but oh no, you don't get no special treatment. Nah. See, what people don't understand is that they had both markets. When it comes, I am the first one that said the Nintendo Switch should have never been built. Should have never been built. The reason I said that is because with the Wii U they had what? They had both markets. They had the handheld market and they had the console market. And with the Wii U and the way it's built and having the motion controller plus the Wii U Pro controller plus the tablet plus the console plus the hard drive, you had the Nintendo fan base needs were met. Every angle, every direction, every base was covered when it comes to video games. The Switch should have never been built, so when they went and built the Switch, they fell off. They lost a lot of features. So now they try to so-called bring it back, but they ain't brought everything back because people be forgetting. People be forgetting that the Wii U had a camera. Remember? The Wii U had a camera. Yeah, for Wii U chat. Remember? So that video that Nintendo just did by showing off the Switch and friends talking to each other, the Wii U can already do it. So the Switch should never been built. And plus, this is a tablet / handheld. And by the way, since you got the console and the tablet, that means streaming and remote play was covered. All Nintendo had to do was fix the signal strength. $1 billion company like Nintendo can't afford to fix a signal strength. You can't be serious. So I'm just saying. So Pcgamesn want us to pamper Nintendo. That's what they want us to do. Okay? Yeah. Anyway, let me keep going here. let me finish this article here. Says here, so I can get through this. Says here, there is a growing trend following the official reveal of the Nintendo Switch 2, where forced comparisons are being made to the to the Steam Deck. While there are clearly similarities between the two handhelds, the idea that these are competing devices, or that one makes the other redundant, is misplaced. No, it ain't. It's not misplaced. The Steam Deck already beat the Switch 1 and Switch 2 already. Yeah. It already beat the Switch 1 and Switch 2. Already did. The Steam Deck can do ray tracing and DLSS. Yeah. And FSR. Yeah. And the Steam Deck got NVIDIA GeForce Now on it. Plus the Epic Games Store, plus Amazon. I could keep going down the list. Yeah. It's that good. But anyway, it says here the Steam Deck is still without a doubt one of the best handheld gaming PCs that money can buy. In fact, you can buy one for considerably less than a Nintendo Switch 2, but that's a little relevance right now. Instead, the key point is that the Switch 2 and the Steam Deck are distinct enough that makes sense to both, rather than suggesting they're in some kind of one or the other battle. Let me say this. They're not distinct. They're not. They're both handhelds. The Steam Deck can do everything the Switch does already. It already can. Just saying. They had HDR, VRR, all that. Just saying. It says here, one misconception a lot of people seems to have is that the Switch 2 is in the same market as the Steam Deck or other handheld gaming PCs. Yes, it is. The Switch is in the same marketplace, the same ballpark as the Steam Deck. Just saying. It says here, let me keep going. It says here, this is unfair on both Switch and PC handhelds, as they are just not as compatible as some seems to think. Just because a number of Steam Deck versus Switch articles exist, it doesn't make the point relevant. It's not unfair. See, if you would have refreshed the Wii U, like I've said, and lengthened the screen and widened the screen, I said months and years ago now, and put some space on that 25 gig CD, and fix the signal strength between the tablet and the console, this article wouldn't exist. But since you tried to abandon the Wii U, and you were protected when you had the Wii U, the only thing you had to do was get rid of the 3DS. But you didn't. So when you went and built the Switch, it's open season. That means any handheld manufacturer can go up against you. Just saying. It says here, the Switch 2 is still ultimately more akin to a home console thanks to its physical game market and limited options when it comes to game settings. The Steam Deck can be a home console if it wants to be, and settings is a part of video games. You know, just like how you would adjust your TV with settings to get the better picture. The same rule applies to video games. So this article is a Crimea River article. But anyway, it says here, if you buy a Switch 2 to play Cyberpunk 2077, it's reported that you can expect a 40 FPS frame rate when docked. If you think this isn't acceptable, there is nothing you can do about it. The recent reveal of NVIDIA DLSS on the console might change this somewhat, but we're still in the dark about how it will be implemented. So you have to dock the Switch to get the best out of it, huh? But you don't have that feature that the Wii U have with the dual screen feature. So in other words, the Switch should have never been built. Just saying. It says here, with the Steam Deck, you can immediately start tinkering with settings to find those extra frames, even if it's at a cost of graphical fidelity. If this level of control, as well as the underlying fact that each handheld gaming PC can double just as a PC, that creates a fairly large distinction. Well, basically Nintendo is behind by that statement. You know, tinkering and adjusting the settings with your video games, that's a part of the experience, you know. Just saying. It's just like having a TV and adjusting your settings. That's a part of the television experience. You don't just buy a TV and just sit it on the table and then all of a sudden you're sitting there watching it. You got to change the settings to meet your view. But anyway, says here while there will be plenty of game crossover between the Switch and the handheld gaming PC, Nintendo exclusive first-party lineup game is for many gamers worth the cost of entry alone. For Steam Deck owners, the idea that every game they buy can also play on a gaming PC or a laptop is an equally attractive proposition. Just because Nintendo got their own exclusive games, it does not exempt them from the conversation of the Steam Deck being more powerful than the Switch 2. Just saying. Says here, the Nintendo Switch 2 and the Steam Deck can easily live in harmony without needing to compare to each other at every opportunity, as being forced right now, small pockets of community. Well, during the PlayStation 2 and original Xbox, there was a lot of comparisons going on, so this will never change, man. It's part of the console market, and if you understand computers, you're always going to compare the one to the other. That's just the way it is, you know. So yeah. But this article really is a Cry Me a River article. You know, it's really, people want to give Nintendo special treatment. You know, remember it was the Nintendo fans that was attacking the Steam Deck when it first came out. But now the tables have turned. Now they want people to feel sorry for them. Nah, can't let that fly, man. So this article is just straight clickbait when I look at it, you know. So yeah, the Steam Deck. Gabe Newell came out and said we couldn't find a game the Steam Deck couldn't run, and plenty of developers take shots at the Steam Deck. They try to use market share. They try to use the user-based numbers for the Steam Deck not getting certain games. Companies like EA with Titanfall 2, Epic with Fortnite, Roblox, you know, even Respawn, they took shots at the Steam Deck too, but Valve kept on pushing. So yeah, the Steam Deck is still the handheld to beat right now, because it's running games, you know. So the Switch 2 might be the new handheld on the market, but they should have stayed. Me personally, I'm gonna say this again, they should have stayed with the Wii U, because they had both markets, both handheld and console market. And if you look at the PlayStation 5 with the Portal, you can see where they got it from. They got it from this, okay? And this tablet has a camera on it. So the features that the Switch 2 tried to show off, the Wii U already had it. So yeah, I know people like to talk about ray tracing and DLSS, but what good is ray tracing and DLSS if you don't have the CPU and GPU power to match it? Just saying. So yeah, but other than that, man, this article is really clickbait. I mean, I saw some comments from people. Let's see, who got something to say here? Let's see here. I think I've seen some comments on this. I got 5 comments here. Five comments from the debaters. Somebody said this. Let's see here. All comments. Somebody said this. No one has ever said they are in the same market. What is this writer on? What is this writer on about? And then someone else said, did Nintendo lawyer write this? And then someone said, yeah, stop, because the Steam Deck is better. Steam Deck is just better, man. Just a better handheld, hands down. It's just a better handheld, hands down. So the games that the Switch is, some of the games that the Switch is getting, the Steam Deck already has it. Just saying. So yeah. Steam Deck is better, man. Hands down. Hands down. But but the Nintendo fans, they like to take cheap shots. They like to take cheap shots, and then and they don't want to expect. I guess they didn't expect any blowback from it, so they remember they started by attacking the Steam Deck first. Now they're getting a dose of their own medicine. Matter of fact, I've seen an article talking about the Switch 2 battery life on Eurogamer. Yeah, so they're getting a dose of their own medicine. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy though. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, the Star Wars Dr. Fang, Board Dark Side. I'm gone. Peace.